I wanted to share what God was telling me this morning, and struggling in making decisions and life changes and transitions, and when it feels like things are changing and you don't know what to do, if you should do anything, um, you know, and sometimes we can get caught up in our mistakes and feeling like we need to do this and do that and do that, but all of that is not required, right? And when you fully trust in God, that shows your love for Him. That shows your acknowledgement of His love for you, right? Because when we don't trust, right, we go into hypervigilance, right? Mental health world, where you feel like you have to watch and you have hyper focus on any flaws or mistakes that might happen in your life. But the thing is that our lives were not meant to be perfect in the way that you thought it should be perfect, right? Our lives are perfect because He says it is. So that's including the mistakes and the flaws and the confusion and the I don't know what decision to make, and I messed up here, and this person didn't care for me there, and I felt empty because of this, and I was impacted because of this, or whatever. What that includes, that God still says your life is made perfect in Him, right? So He makes all things work for the good. So those flaws that you're looking out and trying to make sure that doesn't happen, right? Sometimes God has included that, and He needs that actually for His purpose and His plan for your life, right? So that's why it's so important to be able to just trust, to let go and rest, right? Because any flaws that you make in resting in His arms, He is going to make sure that you're cared for, that those are covered, right? You are covered by His arms when you're resting in Him. Right? I look back on my life and I see so many mistakes, and I remember even myself feeling like I just can't get it right, right? But I know that God has a purpose because His word says all things work for the good. So I can't wait to see the good out of this, right? And sometimes I have to remind myself today that it doesn't matter if I can't get it right. God's going to make it right, right? And when we haven't had caregivers in the past that showed you that you can trust them and they've got things covered, or because of they weren't there intentionally or unintentionally, right? Because they had their own issues, or they were sick, or they were depressed, or they were stressed, or whatever, right? Whatever reason why you felt like you couldn't trust the world or the people in it, you can trust God. And that's what hypervigilance is. A lot of the times it can be a part of ADHD or trauma. When you learn that you can't trust, right? You have to be the one that everything relies on. You have the burden, but God said His burden is light. So you should feel at rest. You should be able to breathe and let go and know that everything is in His hands, right? And it's hard. It's hard to just be like, okay, God, I'm letting go. And sometimes it's hard to trust that, and it doesn't feel safe because the last time you thought you could rest, right, and just let everything go, somebody failed you. But you know what? God made that work for the good, right? God is going to make it work for the good. So whatever you feel like you'll miss, if you rest right now, God is going to make that work out for the good too. Amen. Amen. Love you guys. Be blessed. Bye.